Brittany Bear. I have a spinal cord injury, and spinal cord injuries aren't that common, but with more progress, they are becoming more common. Spinal cord injuries are very complicated injuries that no one fully understands except for the person that has the injury themselves, but even at that, they're still learning every day. According to the ViewConnieFund.com, in an effort to raise awareness about the critical need for better treatments and preventative measures, September has been designated the National Spinal Cord Awareness Month by the U.S. Senate, and their color is lime green. Let's take a moment to imagine not being able to run anymore, not being able to feel your feet in the water anymore in the summer, not even being able to brush your own teeth. Things can change completely in an instant, even from a car crash on the way home from work, after a football game, and a number of other reasons. The most common things that spinal cord injuries come from are vehicle crashes, sports incidents, and gunshots, along with many others. Also on the ViewConnieFund.com, Nick Bucani said that paralysis does not discriminate. People need to realize that paralysis can happen to anyone at any point in time, but realities of today's statistics can't be disputed. Every 48 minutes, another person in the U.S. will become paralyzed. On the brainandspinalcord.org, spinal cord is a long series of cells and nerves and fibers running from the base of the brain shortly to the tailbone, above the tailbone. It's encased in the vertebrae through the back as protection. On spinalinjury101.org, it lists where all of the levels of the spinal cord are and what they control. The lowest ones are the lumbar and sacral nerves, known from the L1 down to the S5. People with injuries down there most likely will be able to walk again with strengthening and will be able to drive again. Next would be the thoracic nerves from the T1 to T12, which is your lower back. That affects the ab muscles in the back, and higher the up would be the chest. As we get higher into the cerebral nerves from here to about the base of your head, from the top of your chest down to here, we'll have the C8 through the C5, which controls basically the arms and the hands and the legs. These people may need some help through daily activities, such as brushing their teeth or getting food. The higher up, though, the more complicated and the more help that they would need. These people would be able to drive with modified vehicles and may need a wheelchair or a power chair depending on how high the level is. Next, you would have the high cervical nerves, which is the C1 through C4, which basically is all in the neck. Those paralyze the arms, hands, trunks, and legs, basically your whole body. They won't be able to breathe on their own. Their speech would be impaired and reduced, and they would need help with all of their daily activities and 24/7 personal care. They'll use powered wheelchairs, but would need special controls, such as in their headrest or a straw to move the chair around. On the YourthPro.com, that's UIORTHO.com, lists all of the secondary complications that come after a spinal cord injury. I won't get into all of them, but I'll get into the main ones, which can be your breathing. With breathing, you would have a weak cough, so you would be unable to cough up all of the mucus in your lungs, and that can cause more pneumonias. And the higher up in the C1 through C4, you would have a ventilator. If you're on a ventilator for a long period of time, you would have a trach put in your windpipe to breathe. These people may not be able to talk on their own, but they could if they tried hard enough. Spinal cord injury patients may not be able to regulate their own body temperatures, so one minute they could be really hot and the next they would be freezing cold. Next, we would have autonomic dysreflexia, which is kind of a long tongue twister, but it's a really common one and it happens anywhere below the level of injury. This can come from anything such as having a full bladder, constipation, any pain, infection, skin breakdown, ingrown toenail, anything that would cause problems that we would not be able to feel on our own below our injuries. Ways to tell if something's wrong for autonomic dysreflexia is high blood pressure, low heart rate, anxiety, severe pounding in the head, sweating above the injury, and nasal stuffiness. If not taken care of, autonomic dysreflexia can lead to a stroke, heart attack, or seizure. Next would be bowel and bladder control. Spinal cord injury patients will be put on a bowel regimen and they may have a Foley catheter in since they won't be able to urinate on their own. Next would be muscle and tendons. There would be multiple spasms. If you're trying to stretch, it would contract and you won't be able to move. It'll tighten up and it can cause shortening in the tendons and the muscles. Next, we would have bone and joints. Calcium from the bones can go into the tendons and cause severe pain and increase muscle spasms. According to nids.nih.gov, the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke, there are 12,000 spinal cord injuries every year in the United States. More than 250,000 of Americans are currently living with spinal cord injuries. Up until World War II, if you had a severe spinal cord injury, it would lead to certain death. If you survived it, you would rely on a wheelchair and there would not be as many accommodations as we have today. Advances in research are giving doctors and people living with spinal cord injuries hope for the future, and there's more surgical techniques and developments in spinal nerve regeneration, cell replacement, neuroprotection, and neurorehabilitation. The future for spinal cord injury survivors looks brighter than ever nowadays. Even though there can be a lot of secondary complications, there have been many advancements and accommodations to help these people, such as, for example, on agribility.org. For people that want to deal with agriculture, there's modified tractors with forklifts on the side so the wheelchairs can be lifted up into the tractor. They have among many others, and you can go onto their website. It's agribility.org. I'm going to demonstrate how to pick up a spoon without being able to use your fingers. And to do that, I put it between my fingers, just like this, and that's how I normally eat through the day. Thank you.